The corridor between us. I never believed in signs. Into signs, strange coincidences or hints of fate. I, Alex Carter, have always believed that the world works according to a cold logic. Action causes a consequence. Every event can be explained if you know all the details. But all this collapsed one evening, when I found myself in the old campus of the university, where I was drawn again and again for some unclear thrust. I studied at Columbia University, New York. The tall buildings of the campus have always looked a little scary in the dark, especially the old Butler Library, where, according to rumors, people disappeared. Nonsense, of course. But that's where I ended up that evening. It's too late for someone else to wander the corridors. I was walking along a long corridor, the walls of which seemed endless, and at some point I noticed a strangeness. The door on my left, the one that never existed. I spent 4 years at this university and knew the building almost by heart. But I've never seen this door, massive, old, wooden, with a brass handle before. And then something inside pushed me. Curiosity? Fear? I'm not sure. I reached out and touched the cold metal. The door gave up too easily, as if it was waiting for me. There was a corridor behind her. But not like the others. The air was thick, with a taste of dust and iron. I stepped inside. The door behind me closed by itself. The first thing I noticed was the sounds. They weren't human. The rustle, as if someone's footsteps are far ahead, and a faint echo of voices. But when I held my breath listening, I realized, it wasn't just voices. They called me by my name. Alex. I'm frozen. My heart was pounding in my chest. Alex, can you hear me? The voice was feminine, quiet, like a whisper through a dream. I felt like I knew him. I listened, trying to remember who it belonged to. And then the memory struck me. Sarah. Sarah Johnson. My childhood friend, who died 10 years ago in a car accident. Sarah. I exhaled. And the echo answered. I'm here. I moved forward slowly. The corridor was stretching. The walls seemed to breathe, slightly moved like fabric. I walked deeper and deeper, and with each step the air became heavier, the cold made its way under the skin. I saw a dark figure ahead. The silhouette is feminine, the hair is long, in a white dress. I accelerated my steps, but the distance between us did not decrease. Wait! I shouted. The figure stopped and turned her head. And at that moment I realized that her eyes were empty, as if cut out of the shadow. I froze. Alex, she whispered. You're here too, between us. The corridor trembled. The walls began to crack, and a light broke through the cracks, so bright that it cut my eyes. I closed my eyes, covered my face with my hand, and suddenly felt the floor go away from under my feet. I was falling. Long, endless, through the hum and voices, until he hit a cold stone. When I opened my eyes, I realized that I was in the same corridor. But the door in the back disappeared. And the worst thing is that now there were 2 silhouettes ahead. And they both called me by my name. I was standing in the middle of a corridor that had no end. There was no door behind me, only endless darkness, like a thick cloth, drawing in any sound. There are 2 silhouettes ahead. They both looked at me. Both knew my name. Alex. They whispered at the same time, and it sounded as if the walls echoed them like a huge echo. I recognized the second voice. Male. And at that moment a chill ran down my back. It was my father's voice. The one I lost when I was 13. Dad. I exhaled, almost losing my balance. The silhouettes stood motionless. Female Sarah. The male is the father. They seemed alive, but their faces remained blurred, as if from another plane. I took a step forward, but the corridor seemed to stretch. For each of my movements, space paid with its trap. The walls approached, squeezing me, and the air became viscous. "What is this?" I whispered. "A dream." "No," answered Sarah. "It's a place in between. A corridor where what has not been completed remains." Father added, "You came here because you also carry emptiness in yourself." I clenched my fists. Their words were hard-hearted. I remembered that evening, when I quarreled with my father, when I shouted to him that I hated him, and the next morning he did not come back from the road. And I remembered that call about Sarah's death when I didn't have time to answer her last message. "I didn't choose it," I said deftly. "I didn't want to lose them." The silhouettes moved closer. Their faces were getting clearer. Sarah looked at me with blank eyes, but her lips trembled in an attempt to smile. Father stretched out his hand, as if inviting. "If you take a step towards us," said Sarah, "you'll stay. We'll be together. The pain will go away. But if you leave," the father continued, "you will lose us again. You'll be left alone." I felt the walls of the corridor start to collapse. The same cutting light broke through the cracks. Time flowed like sand, and I realized the choice could not be avoided. My heart was breaking. I wanted to hug them, stay close. But deep inside I felt it wasn't them. It's something that wore their images to lure me. I remembered Sarah alive, her laughter, her lively eyes. I remembered my father, not as a shadow, but as a man who taught me to hold on to life. "You're not real," I said. The figures twitched. The voices intensified, turning into a roar. "You won't leave." They growled together. The corridor shook, the walls collapsed, and the light became dazzling. I closed my eyes, rushed forward at random, towards the light. I felt a blow to my chest, as if someone had pushed me away. I screamed and collapsed through the light. I woke up on the cold floor of the Butler Library. The usual walls stretched around, the lamps were on with dim light. The door, the same door, was gone. Only a smooth wall. I got up on my feet, ran my trembling hands over my face. There was still an echo of voices in my ears. "The corridor between us." These words sounded like a sentence in me. I knew one thing: the door still exists somewhere. She's waiting for the next one, who carries emptiness in her. And if I ever hear my name again in an empty corridor, I'm not sure if I have the strength to turn away a second time.